New York's classic rock, Q1043.
Hey, zooming with me, our new world, but it's John Lodge of Moody Blues fame. How are you, mate? How you doing?
Ken, fabulous, thank you. And yeah, I'm on the road in a hotel room. I got in at 2 o'clock this morning,
Oh
so
God,
it's a bit early. So, but thank
where
you for
where are you?
Springfield in Massachusetts. Yeah.
Got it. Because you're coming our way. We're going to see at Sony Hall next week, March 1st. And it's such a great show, guys. It's just so much fun. Your voice is stronger than ever. The show is real rock and roll. It's heartwarming. And it's just funny that so many friends through the years that I've met in our world in rock and roll. The pandemic started, everybody said, oh, it feels so nice to be off the road. There's a reason to catch our breath, reunite with family. And 4 months later, they're saying, if I have to stay here one more day, I'm going to kill my family, kill my friends, and jump in the Thames. I can't take another minute of.
Uh, Pretty much so. I spent the time. I built a little studio uh,
Excellent.
in Naples where I live in the winter, and I wrote some songs and recorded. So it was quite productive. But one of the things I did, it gave me time to think about when I'm touring next and what to do, and that's when we came up with Days of Future Past. And so we spent the last year rehearsing that and working it out, working out how to do it. So you know, I could give the real experience of listening to the album live, but also a rock and roll show.
It's almost like, you know, what McCartney said about Sergeant Pepper's. And remember, folks, this era of exploration of music was never made before. And sadly, right now, isn't really being made again to this level of exploring new ways, which breaks my heart. But I hope the pendulum will come around. I always got the sense Paul said, you know, we never did Sergeant Pepper's with any intent to tour it, which is why we did such crazy stuff in the studio because it was just going to be the album. Was that the same for you? Even though the big hit Nights in White Satin, was it ever meant to be played live?
No, we didn't ever think about playing the album live. And it was only 2018, I think, when we did a concert at the Hollywood Bowl with an orchestra, and that's the only time we really did the album. But we did an album recording just after that at Sony Hall in Toronto, and we did a live version of Days of Future Past. But no, really, the songs were part of our day in the life, if you want, on stage. We started writing these songs just to perform on stage originally, and it morphed into Days of Future Past. And as I say, the rest is history, really.
It is remarkable that here in our classic rock world, and again, I don't say this with braggadocio, I feel so blessed that a whole younger audience has come to find this music and has fallen in love with it. And wherever they get on the train, the 80s to the 70s, and especially when people say, well, you don't want to play old music. Well, old music, what is old music? The 60s is old. Well, Herman's Hermits sounds like it's of a time. And then if you get to Moody Blues and Sergeant Pepper's and Pink Floyd, and you get Beatles, that early Genesis, that's okay. Technically, it was the 60s, but that's a whole different world. Every kid, every teenager responds the same way to a beautiful psychedelic soundscape as I did when I was a kid and I first heard it, as everybody has. That's to me what makes classic rock rock. We went to see Nick Mason had toured a Saucer Full of Secrets with the early Floyd. And my wife and I said, you know, we'll be the oldest people here, along with no, your original audience, that was the minority. Most of the audience were in their 20s and dressed in feather boas and polka dots and stripes. It looked like they came right out of Carnaby Street in 1967. It was fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. I found this. I've done 4 concerts so far on this tour, and the audience has been fantastic. But young people coming to the audience and listening. And I'm really grateful for that, because when we wrote this album, on all our songs, we said, we've got to stand by what we write forever. You know, forever in those days was 10 years.
Right. Right.
And I think that's what people can associate with it now, because we've all got the same dreams when we're young as we are now. You know, it's the same dreams, the same hopes, the same disappointments, everything. The world's just pretty much the same as people. The politics may change and everything else, but as people, we are the same people as we when we were young, and young people relate to that, I think.
I learned so much from you and some other folks talking about what that era was for you, the creators of it. I mean, I know what it did for my life listening to it, but were you guys listening to what the other bands did as well? Were you listening to the Beatles and the Stones and Pink Floyd and hearing what they did as well and were influenced by it?
I don't know whether we were influenced by it, but we were excited about it. In 1962, I think, I had a band with Ray Thomas, the flute player, and Moody Blues, and we used to play these concerts every month, and we were always top of the bill. And we went there one month, and the promoter said, "I'm sorry, guys, you're not top this week. We got a band just come down from Liverpool, and they've just recorded a song called Love Me Do, and it's released this week." And it was the Beatles. So we were excited. Somebody's had a record contract. I got the picture from that photograph from that concert, you know,
Really?
1962. And it was exciting, you know. I was excited for the Stones. I worked with the Stones as well in '63, and the Beatles, and all that. It was really exciting to Jimi Hendrix, you know, see him playing in the local club in London. It was exciting. I don't think we took any influence from them, but it was like, oh, if they're doing that, what can we do with it's different, but still as exciting?
That says it all. You were, as opposed to copying what someone was doing, you're going, okay, let's see where we can take this. Let's see if we can go further. That's what, everyone told me. And by the way, one of the things I've quoted you, I don't know, must be 100 times by now on the air in newspapers about that show 64 when you first said the Beatles. And if you don't mind reiterating that story, as you said, what you had always seen was so-and-so and the so-and-sos, Buddy Holly and the Crickets, Cliff Richard and the Shadows, Elvis and the Jordanaires. And that when you saw the Beatles, it was the first time there were three people up front and the drummer in the back. Wait, which one's the lead singer? There should be one guy in the front and people behind him doing steps, as you said. That the Beatles changed how you set up a stage.
Absolutely, because it was a group, a group. And that was what we did with the Moody Blues. When you write, we used to sit around the table in the studio, coffee table. Lots of things happened on the coffee table. We've still got the coffee table in our garage. It's amazing.
The coffee table? You have the Moody's coffee table?
Yeah, and we used to sit around there, and if anyone played a song to the other guys, as soon as you played that song, it was the Moody Blues song. It was no longer your song. Everybody contributed to that song, and it became the Moody Blues. That's why on our albums, we didn't have photographs on the cover of us, because we wanted to be the music and a band. And that's what we strove to make happen.
Brilliant. I never realized that. Oh, John, I can't wait to see you March 1st, we get to see at Sony Hall. We're going to hear Days of Future Past in its entirety, poems and all.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. This will be such a joyous night. Keep on keeping on, and we'll see you when you come to town. Let's spend a little time together. I'd love to catch up with you in person.
Ken, thank you very much, and continued success to you and the love of music.
Thank you. Safe travels, my friend, and we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye, Ken.
New York's classic rock, Q1043.